Alrighty. Thank you, Mama, for letting me interview you today. And this interview is going to be about how 2020 went for you.
Okay.
The whole year as a whole, pandemic, the movements, and I'm going to talk about Black Lives Matter movement, the election, you dealing with COVID, all of it. So take it away.
Whew. All right. 2020. It was definitely a year that I would love to put behind me, per se. Definitely. Um, it mm, with the pandemic, um, it was dealing with a lot. Starting out, of course, with the COVID. Of course, we starting out January. It was light here in the States. We really weren't affected like most countries starting off. Um, it really didn't hit the US until what, maybe March?
March.
Yeah. And so by March, everything kind of started shutting down. Um, and that was kind of like, okay, let's start, readjusting some things. Um, it kind of started off like, with everybody freaking out with the tissue flying off the shelves. That was kind of weird to me. with,
That was the weird part for everybody.
yeah, why is everybody hoarding tissue? you know, I'm like, okay, everybody just gonna stay in the house and just poop all day, you know. But to me, I was more concerned about the what ifs, basically, more concerned of how are we gonna protect ourselves, from this. And they were basically saying it's by touching things, but I kept telling her dad it's transmitting too fast just by them saying touching, and I was like, this stuff has got to be airborne. So, my thing was, okay, we got to mask up. I mean, that's just it. We gotta, we gotta stay proactive and mask up and just be safe. So, things kind of just, yeah, your daddy coming in and out while I'm trying to do this, but in, you know, as the months pretty much went on, of course, your sister, her junior year wasn't very much of a junior year.
Nobody really had school that year.
Right. And then, of course, junior year, she was looking forward to her prom. We had just brought her prom dress literally a few weeks before prom got canceled. So that wasn't, in the books as, something that was a highlight for her. But we kept the prom dress, and of course, we got to use it this year. So, yay. But um, it was just kind of, I guess, kind of a touch and go situation because I was leery about, for one, going out because I didn't know what to expect. Um, and then, of course, me having a weak immune system, I was very leery about going out. Then with your dad, brother, and sister working at Walmart, I was very comprehensive with them coming home from work. So it was just like, okay, what do we need to do? Couldn't find Lysol, was very scarce on the shelves. Any kind of antibacterial, it was like scarce, which we already had some, but it was still, when you want to make sure you have enough, it was still kind of light. Come October, had a few doctor's appointments, kind of back to back. And previously, I'm not sure exactly when, if it had to do when I was at visiting my mom, or if it happened when I was going to my doctor's appointments, but I ended up contracting COVID. And I honestly thought that I had the flu. I was coming down with the flu because that's what it felt like starting off. I had the chills and the fever. And it started like on a Wednesday evening after I had got back from a follow-up appointment at a doctor's office. That Thursday morning, had woke up, energy just gone, which with one of my health issues, I experienced a lot of fatigue anyway, but this was definitely worse than the norm. This was, you don't want to get out of bed fatigue. And didn't want to eat, didn't want nothing to drink. I was just wanted to stay in the bed, be left alone. Then the headache came. I deal with migraines, but this was, I would take a migraine any day over this type of headache because this literally felt like, oh my gosh, maybe like somebody literally had weight sitting on top of your head and it was just sitting there and was not letting up. But I think I experienced every symptom there was to it except for the respiratory part, which I'm thankful for that. And I still didn't realize that I had it until I actually, by that Friday morning, I had lost my taste and smell. And I was like, okay, I think I got this mess. So, of course, your dad and brother made me go. Your dad drove me down to UAMS and I got tested. And while I was there, they noticed that I had not had my flu shot. So they were like, okay, we're going to go ahead and give you your flu shot today. I'm like, okay. So I kind of think that's what kind of helped me not to get the respiratory part of it. So I'm kind of hoping, that's what I kind of think kind of helped me from not getting that worst aspect, but I did have everything else. But on the downside of with COVID in October, you know, you were there in Jonesboro, but you know, with everybody else here in the house, everybody else got exposed. And your dad got the worst part of it because he ended up in the hospital with the respiratory issues. He was experiencing respiratory failure along with the blood clotting where he had to have the transfusion and was given remdesivir. So that was really scary for 4 days. And at the time when he was there, my mom, 2 aunts, an uncle, and a cousin were all inpatient at the same time. And then me, Quay, and Tony were here at home, you know, quarantine. But through all of that, with Alice, it was like, you know, we never thought that we would end up having to get that call to say, you know, there's nothing else that they can do for her, that we would have to make the decision to take her off of life support because, you know, everything else is failing. You know, her body is fighting against it because she had sickle cell and, you know, she had so many transfusions with her sickle cell that they couldn't find any blood to actually help with the clotting that the COVID was doing. That probably, besides your dad being in the hospital, that was probably the second hardest part. And then, with mama being in there, she, had dementia. So it actually attacked her kidneys, where she was having issues with her kidney functions that were dropping really, really low. So she was in and out for about 3 weeks. It was just horrible just to see your loved ones just to go through that. And just COVID, it's horrible, period. And for people to just still walk around and not think anything about it, thinking it's okay, not wearing a mask, not social distancing, thinking that, because the governor has lifted mask mandates and feel like everything is 100% back open, this stuff isn't going anywhere.
Not right now, at least.
So, I mean, I'm just thankful and grateful that we made it through, that we have passed 2020. I've been blessed to see 21. There was a lot of negativity in 2020. A lot of things that Trump said in 2020. And the election, oh my gosh, that within itself, the whole scenario, I've never seen anything like that in all my days of witnessing any type of election. Just it was like a little kid throwing a temper tantrum, seriously, with the grown man.
Yeah.
In front of millions watching, across countries, not just US, but countries. So, I mean, it's just, I'm hoping and praying we're starting to make a turnaround and a positive turn for the US, and letting people see that, that the US is about, having relationships with other countries about positivity and not so much about hate and dislike towards people. And, a lot of that hatred came out